Good morning, Husker fans, and welcome back to the Husker Big Red YouTube channel. It is Saturday. We are a few hours away here from Northwestern, I guess 4 hours to be exact, but we're going to hang out with our coffee and do our pregame chat here an hour before the kickoff shows, before college game day, before big noon kickoff. So we'll help you get into those. So if you're waking up ready for the Huskers, come hang out with us. If you're joining us on YouTube, Facebook, hop in the chat. Let us know what you think about this matchup. Let us know what you think about all these crazy Matt Rule rumors, or just how bad everybody needs to win this weekend. The entire state of Nebraska, Husker Nation, everybody that follows this team, we just need to get a win and get back on track, get the season back on track. So, anyways, with that in mind, how are you doing on this Saturday morning, Danny?
Good. My head looks like Peyton Manning's with this camera angle. Oh, there we go. There we go. I'm doing much better now. I'm doing good. And you're right about this whole state needing a win. The players need a win. Matt Rule needs a win. Everybody needs a win. It's been a long. It feels like it's been 3 weeks instead of just 8 days since our last game. But we really need to get this game played here today.
Yeah. I'm excited, I guess, for the noon. I guess not noon kickoff, 11 a.m. Central Time kickoff for Nebraska and Northwestern, and pretty big game. Northwestern. I don't think anybody, or probably not many people, when the schedule came out, thought, oh, this is going to be a matchup of 5-2 teams. But here we are. Northwestern, 3-1 in the Big Ten, 3 wins in a row, and they kind of have the kryptonite, or they kind of have the tool that's been Nebraska's kryptonite, and they've run the football over 40 times in 3 consecutive Big Ten games, which, you have to be having some success to run it 40 times. They're averaging 190 yards per game. So I would expect them to come in and try to run the ball 40 times today at Nebraska. And they're physically going to have to man up and, stop this Northwestern offense. And same thing, offensively, my biggest key today for the Huskers is to feed the football to Emmett Johnson, because in my opinion, that's going to be the easiest way to, help neutralize the pass rushes, by running the ball, keeping down and distance manageable, and just taking some pressure off the offensive line and Dylan Raiola.
Yeah, and taking pressure off of Dylan Raiola is going to be very important. The offensive line has done him no favors over the past couple weeks, and taking pressure off of him is going to be extremely important. I'm hoping for a better game for the offensive line, but that can't be a guarantee. And I don't care if we put, Dylan Raiola, Jalen Gramstead, TJ Lateef, I don't know, anybody back there. It's not pretty. So the offensive line is really going to have to step up today.
And good morning to you, James. Good to see you back in the chat again, one of our regulars. So good to see you here again. And if you're watching, go ahead and throw your questions or comments in the chat. But yeah, this going to be a really interesting matchup, and I thought it was, some of these press conferences this week were really interesting. I thought Rule didn't necessarily hold back. I mean, especially about his assistant coaches. I thought, he had some poignant words for Dana Holgorsen, which I'm sure he's had these words in private too. That's why I'm not like, I don't think that that was the first time those guys heard that stuff, from Matt Rule. And he should have said, the thing that bothered me that he said is, about how he was trying to get everybody ready for Minnesota, and they didn't believe him or whatever. I just thought that was weird. But from the assistant coaches, have some understanding of what this rivalry has been, and it's been a rivalry where Nebraska's looked down on it and kind of acted superior, and Nebraska kind of always goes into the Minnesota game acting and thinking that it should win. And
that doesn't matter the coaching staff. Honestly, that's been a trend for forever.
Yeah, exactly. And it's if you look at the history of this matchup, that's been part of the problem. And so that, to me, that was disappointing. But, football is a crazy sport, in that, one week you can look like absolute garbage, and the next week you can look like a college football playoff team. I mean, we see that in the
Indiana
NFL.
Against Ohio State, versus Ohio State, the week change is what I'm thinking of from last year. That's what.
Yeah, we got beat really bad by Indiana, came back, almost beat Ohio State.
I don't know how, but
good to see you, Co-Sibs. And yeah, some weird press conferences this week, but John Butler talking about how he kind of abandoned the game plan. But I guess, to me, the weirdest thing about last week still is I just do not understand what Dana Holgorsen was thinking. I mean, Nebraska had 13 first down runs, and they were averaging 5 yards a carry. And just to have only 2 runs beyond first downs all game like that, I don't it's crazy. That to me is literally insane asylum crazy.
Well, based on those press conferences, I don't think Matt Rule knew what Dana Holgorsen was doing either. But yeah, I'm hoping they run the football a little bit more this week. I mean, Emmett's been fantastic, and the winner will become bowl eligible. So I think this could be a dogfight. Yeah, I mean, I really do too. And honestly, again, no matter the coaching staff, Northwestern, save for maybe 2021, was it, where we won like 56 to nothing.
Yeah, I think 56-7,
56-7.
or maybe 56-3. I
Aside
can't
from,
remember.
yeah, Jacques Yacht had a good game, but there's a name for all of you. But anyway, these games have mostly always been dogfights, and this is another opponent that matches up with us kind of really well when we play them. So I'm not expecting anything different today.
Yeah, this is the thing I don't understand is, like, why doesn't he, like, what is he doing during the game? So from YouTube, and thanks again for the comment. Rule has to step in and say something mid-game, or was that part of the deal? He couldn't say anything to him. I'm not really sure what I'm not like. I don't know why he's sitting there complaining about the, why aren't we being more aggressive on defense? Like, why aren't you asking John Butler that during the game? Why aren't you telling Dana Holgorsen to run the ball more? So I don't know. I mean, you have your game plans. Well, that's the other thing too. Like, he sits in on the game plans, does he not? I mean, maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's doing the CEO thing that everybody says. I mean, I don't believe that. I'm more just joking. But that was one thing where everybody. I remember when the whole podcast thing, and everyone's like, well, Matt Rule has these experienced coordinators, so he can be a CEO. He doesn't need to get down in the nitty gritty. And it turned, yes, he does. He does. This program is not in a situation where, like, Matt Rule can just hang out all week and not. And I don't think he is, but this idea that, like, he doesn't need to oversee, and have a hand in what the game plan is, like, I don't think that's correct. And I think we saw that last week, because these guys, I mean, like with Holgorsen, I'm starting to think that this might have been a mistake. I mean, I know that he's good with quarterbacks, but after last week, like, I'm just like, does this dude understand what it takes to win in the Big Ten Conference? And I somewhat had the same question about Rule. Like, does he know what it takes to win in this league? That's a question that I haven't got an answer to yet.
I'm so happy we have a game today, so we can stop having these conversations if they win. That's my thing. That's my that's my key to the game. Let's stop all these bullshit conversations and over analyzing everything. And I'm not just saying you, because I've heard, oh, players, that's part of the problem. Players have hotel accommodations now, and hotel accommodations are affecting their game plan, and blah blah blah. Like, enough of this bullshit. Like, let's just play the game. Like, we don't know what's going on with, what they're dealing with. And again, I'm not saying you, because I've heard a lot of people on social media kind of rag on the players. And it's like, whether you want to admit it or not, it was a short week. They did have exams. They did have delayed flights. I mean, sometimes it does come down to things that don't affect you. So as much as we want them to win and, oh, they're professionals now, they're not kids, they get paid, they still have to deal with other stuff outside of football.
Yeah, it's still hard to win on the road. I mean, no matter, and it's even harder because everybody is getting paid now. Northwestern has money to pay players, and I'm not saying they have as much money as Nebraska or whatever, but I mean, like, Northwestern's quarterback he threw for 3,000 yards in the American Conference 2 years ago. Like, so
He's good.
like, that's like, every team has money now. I mean, look at Vanderbilt is a great example. Like, there's just it's the floor, I feel like, for a lot of these power programs has been elevated. And, I don't think that you can argue with that. And the other thing is, I do think that college football fans need to have more of a mindset, like an NFL mindset, because sometimes in the NFL, your team goes on the road and they get their butt kicked. You know what I mean? Like, it just happens. You have bad games. That doesn't mean you're a bad team. It's just, I think that we're going to see more of that in today's world of college football. There may not be quite as much parity, at the top, but I just think in those, there's just going to be more games like that where you're like, hey, you go on the road and get, kind of get dominated. Like, that just sometimes will happen.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't mean that you have to flush the entire season. And Michigan was a great example. They got beat. USC beat the crap out of them by 18 points. They ran it down their throat. They threw it all over them. They looked horrible. And every Michigan fan was like, oh my God, is Sharon Moore, is he going to, ruin Bryce Underwood and all this? And then now last week, Bryce had his best game. The defense played good. They won by 17. And the fan base is now like, oh, we can make the playoff. Like, that's just the way that it is. It's a week-to-week thing. Sometimes you're going to look good. Sometimes you're going to look bad. But the truth is, you're never as good as you think you are, and you're never as bad as you think you are. Like, Nebraska was not as bad as the team that showed up last week. but we haven't quite seen that great version of Nebraska, and I'm hoping that we start to see it this week and move that into next week, because the thing that this program needs more than anything, like that would just get us right back on the train tracks, and win this week, win next week. Then we're 7-2, and as much as we all want to criticize these coaches and these players, they win these next 2 games and they're right back in the playoff conversation, and that's just the truth of the matter.
Next week is going to not to look for it. Like we'll talk about next week, but next week is going to be a big game.
But yeah, if they win, I mean, there's no guarantees in this game at all, and I do think that I do think the spread's a little large for Northwestern. I mean, 7.5 points just seems like a lot to me. I just feel like it's underrating Northwestern a little bit. But thoughts on the injuries going into this game? Does Shavers go? How can Rocco go? Is Hartzog out for the rest
I think
of the year?
Hartzog, did you hear something about a medical red shirt? I thought I read that.
Yeah, Hartzog is going to redshirt this year. So they had that 5. There's the 5-for-5 rule that the NCAA has been talking about. No, that's not talking about the Wendy's bag, although I do love that.
I do. I love. Yeah,
the
me too. I'm glad I have
5-for-5.
another fan here with the Wendy's. Yeah, I absolutely love it.
But anyway, so there was this rule that you could play 5. You'd have 5 years to play 5 years of eligibility, and so if that had come about and changed, I think Hartzog would have tried to play. But now, since it's not, he's going to redshirt this year, so he'll be back next season. So
I would love him to move to safety, take Buford's spot, because Buford's going to be gone, right?
Yeah, Buford will be gone. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he would be a great safety. Like, I mean, he did make that huge play against Cincinnati, but I really do think he matches up better as a safety, because you can just kind of roam and smack the shit out of people and use your athleticism there. So,
but yeah, I did get countered for now, so that's Hartzog's deal. I don't know about Shavers. I think he's kind of iffy right now. I feel like they said he's going to play this week, but I know that
Rocco. I haven't heard anything about Rocco.
Rocco, I think, is going to go. I know that he had surgery on his finger. That's what Rule made it sound like to me when he was talking about it this week. So I think that he's going to go. I know his finger's broken and messed up, but I think they're just probably tape it together. I mean, I played high school football with a broken finger, so I don't see why Rocco can't do it. I'm sure my bone wasn't sticking out of the finger like his. Like I didn't need surgery. I mean, so like I get it, but I mean, cast that thing out. Like even if you just put a cast over the whole hand, like I one way or another he'll be able to play. And I mean, I know that might kind of sound barbaric, but like I don't think an offensive lineman should be missing games because of a broken finger.
Well, there's also not a lot of depth, not a lot of experienced depth there. That's the other thing too. Are we going to see any of these young guys like Bricks and Tamua, and are they going to be next year holdovers, kind of like Van Poppel was?
Don't offensive linemen need their fingers? I mean, you don't need 5 of them now. I mean, like what you need to do is you need to be able to hit people. Like you need to be able to, like your fingers per se. I would say no. I mean, you do want to try to grab into the pads. Yeah, you're going to strike people. Like, so as long as, I mean, he can get the extremities. I mean, these parts will work. Okay. It's going to hurt. I'm not saying it's not going to hurt. Like it's going to hurt him when he strikes people, but that's just, give him one of those pain injections. Like, he's getting paid $1 million. Like, I don't care if he can't go out there and do it, then like, maybe he's just not tough enough. I don't know. But like, I think he's going to play unless it's like super, I think it's just a pain thing. As long as the strikes aren't hurting his finger too badly, then I think he'll be okay. So he probably can't hurt it worse. You know what I mean? Like outside of just the fact that it's going to hurt, like physically, I don't think he can like injure it beyond a point where it's going to like damage his career beyond the season or anything. So
what position did you play?
I played guard. So okay. I played guard and defensive tackle. Although I should have probably played tight end, but they just.
Do you have speed?
I actually did okay, actually. So there was a guy who played on our team who actually ended up being in the NFL, Mark Mariani. And I did catch a pass against him one time. And I was on the scout team, and I was always trying to get my coach to, because see, like we didn't have very big teams, so like I had to play line just kind of out of necessity, even though I was more like a tight end body. And so one day, I was like just messing around on the scout team, and I was like, man, I know I can catch a ball on this guy. And I told this, and the problem with that, the scout team quarterback is he only got like 2 or 3 seconds to throw,
Before he got absolutely trampled.
So I was just like, bro, just give me a chance. I was like, just step back there and huck it up. And he did, and I went up and got it. And that was probably the highlight of my athletic career right there. So anyway.
Nice. I didn't know you had speed.
I don't, not much, but I do have some ball skills. So, anyway.
So no, that's cool. That's cool. I knew you played offensive line, but I didn't know what position, and you played tight end.
And I would have. We actually had the fumblerooski. So my coach did the old Tom
Ooh,
Osborne
okay,
fumblerooski play.
okay.
We did it. So when I was a junior, we did it for another guy in the state championship game, and it worked. And so when I was a senior, they called it for me. They had it dialed up for me, and it was dialed up perfectly. Okay, we ran it against our rival,
Mm-hmm.
and the fullback on our team was not paying attention to the play call in the huddle. Okay, so the quarterback gets the ball and puts it on the ground, and so he's like, "Why is the ball sitting on the ground?" So I go to reach for the ball, and
Oh
he
no.
beats me to it by like half a second,
Oh.
and he's running down so he stole my touchdown. That SOB.
Oh.
I'm still mad about it. I'm gonna whenever he dies, I'm gonna go dance on his grave and spike a football there for my stolen touch. No, I'm just kidding. It's not that big a deal, but I am bitter about it still.
So you were the Cam Jurgens before Cam Jurgens.
Yeah. I had a whole end zone dance routine planned. I would have gotten so much trouble. I would have got flagged, and I would have had to run like so much at practice because like we had these rules for if you got like certain number of flags, like how much you had to. So I would have had to do like the max conditioning within our program, but it would have been so worth it. And so anyway, I'm not bitter though. I'm not bitter at all.
No, I mean, hey, I didn't know. I didn't know you had wheels like that. I
So
too have wheels, but more by necessity than actual athletic talent. But there you go. Anyway, you know who I does hope have wheels today is Ja'Cory Barney. He only had one catch for a yard last week, and I would love to see him involved in the offensive game plan a little bit more. That was the other puzzling thing too. They didn't run Emmett. They gave the ball to Dane Key and Hunter, but Ja'Cory Barney was shut down last Friday, and some credit does go to the Minnesota corners because I thought they played pretty well in coverage, and that's a good group. But I'd love to see Barney more involved today.
yeah, that's where I look at these pass protection problems, and I do think it's an everybody issue. I think in some instances Dylan's not stepping up and not being great in the pocket and holding the ball too long. I think sometimes the receivers aren't getting open, so there's no one to throw the football to. And I think at times the offensive line and the backs and receivers just aren't blocking very good. And I think at times Dana Holgerson's not really calling plays that are putting his players in a position to succeed. So I do think it is an everybody problem. And
Well, I
I think
noticed Key struggles getting separation sometimes.
yeah, which is disappointing because he's supposed to be the guy that beats the man coverage. So, um, yeah, I don't know. We'll see what's happening, but Corey Barney definitely needs to touch the ball more. Um, yeah, and I don't know how the quick passes or I did not that they necessarily need to do more of those gadget things, but they need to be like Matt Rule said, they need to be intentional about how they get the ball in his hands. I do think he's Nebraska's most explosive player on offense for sure. Him and Isaiah Hunter, I would say.
Can't believe Isaiah Hunter's only a freshman. We're lucky we have him for a couple more years.
Well, he's a redshirt sophomore. He came as a
Or
redshirt freshman, yeah. So, I mean, theoretically, he could go to the NFL after this year if he wanted to. We'll see if he keeps having those 60-yard screens for touchdowns, maybe.
I'd like him one more year and then go to the NFL, please. Please, Isaiah, if you're listening, hold your entire career so I can watch you play one more season in Lincoln. Do it for me, Isaiah.
I think he will be back, but yeah, I think he's going to start, getting some NFL buzz because
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
a guy who can make plays like that after the catch and who's also good at contested catches like he is. I mean, that's kind of an interesting find. So
Oh
I
yeah, he's
really,
an NFL talent. Absolutely.
yeah, like I think when it's all, I could see him being like a day two pick. Like I don't think he's quite there yet. I think probably needs to be a little more consistent. But he did like last season. He had like 600 yards for Cal, and he made a bunch of contested catches. Of course, they had that Mendoza or whoever that's playing
Fernando
for.
Mendoza is tearing it up in Indiana. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean they had a really good quarterback. So, but yeah, he needs to get the ball more a little bit too. No way he goes pro, but maybe flirt with a pay raise at another school. I mean, possibly. I mean, that's always out there. I do think we're going to see less of that stuff happening with like rev share, and I think teams are going to be smart and take care of their better players, and so I think the guys that you're going to see hitting the portal are going to be like I feel like it's going to be more and more like NFL free agency, where like there's maybe like 5 players that are like actually good, and then there's like a bunch of just basically backups in there. So I feel like, and I felt this way. I feel like that the importance of the transfer portal, just at least like the quality of players in the portal, I do think is going to decline. I'm not saying that guys aren't going to be available, and there's not going. I think there's going to be guys that are going to be jumping up from lower conferences and stuff too. But I just don't think we're going to see a ton of these like, NFL, super NFL draft picks like going into the portal. I think that more teams have money to retain their own players, especially at some of these smaller schools too. So I could be wrong, but I think high school recruiting is going to be very important over the next like 5 years.
I was reading James's comment here. I noticed that Nebraska wait until the play clock was under 10 seconds. Hurry up on play calling. Well,
yeah, go ahead, Danny.
Oh no, I was gonna say I think for last Friday against Minnesota, part of it was just to keep the Minnesota offense off the field because the defense couldn't do anything. But have you noticed in other games that maybe I haven't?
I'm trying to think. I mean, I think sometimes they have been. They've gone some up tempo. I would like to see them do a little bit more up tempo, but I don't know. I feel like maybe it could have been they could have had a little more last week because they had so few plays. That was part of Minnesota's thing. But I don't know. I mean, if we had ran 15 more plays, how many more sacks would we have given up? So I'm not sure how much. I'm not sure how much another 10 or 15 plays.
Do we really want the defense on the field for that much more too? Like we would have been like 72 to like 10 at the end of the third quarter, and it would have been Taylor would have had 300 rushing yards.
But I will say though, I mean, I expect Northwestern to kind of use that same game plan. I mean, I think that's a smart game plan, especially, those Northwestern, they're a really strong team, but talent-wise, I mean, they're a little, I don't want to say undermanned. I'm not trying to insult them or anything, but I do think if Raiola can get time, he can throw the football pretty well against these guys. I do have to say though, they have not given up. There's not a single passer this year who's thrown for 200 yards against Northwestern. Not Dante Moore. They've not Drew Aller, which isn't a surprise. He's terrible. But yeah, so they really, I mean, part of that is because they've given up a decent amount of rushing yards, but that's the same thing as they're going to try to limit plays. They're going to try to limit possessions. I mean, most college football games have about 140, 150 plays. Last week there was 105, 110. Yeah. So like that 30 plays makes a big difference. And I think that's probably what Northwestern's going to try to do today. So the run defense has to be better. I think the team that wins the rushing battle today, who has more rushing yards, I think that's the team that's going to win. So I said it in numerous posts this week, literally to Dana Holgerson, lean into the running game because that's what'll save this team today. Emmett Johnson's been the best player on this offense. So lean into it. Give him the football. Let your offensive line be pissed off at everybody for criticizing them and let them go hit somebody. Okay, like let's lean into that type of football today. And I think if they do that, I think they'll come out with a win.
Let's actually block somebody, and I'm talking about you, Gunnar Gatula. And Corcoran, like, I don't want to see him on the field. Like, Gatula, like, okay, like, sure, but like we've done the Cork thing for half a decade now, and it's just not working.
Yeah, it was not. I was listening to another podcast and they kind of covered the Big Ten. They called him Tyler Corcoran. They're like, my God, how long has this Tyler Corcoran guy been there? And they're like, I feel like we found out a long time ago he couldn't play, and yet he's still playing.
Yep. I feel it. Yep. Yep.
I mean, it was pretty spot on. Maybe I would try Tyler Corcoran. If we have a Tyler Corcoran out there, I'd throw him in there. It can't be worse than
maybe his younger brother or something. No, but it's like, But it's like when I found out that Devin Mockabee was playing the other day. I'm like, hasn't Devin Mockabee been at Purdue for like 10 years now? I'm like, damn.
It does seem like it, but yeah, I mean, that's one nice thing. At least Elijah Pritchett got his targeting call so early that he's not going to miss this game. So if you want to talk about looking at things with the glass half full, he's back in the lineup. I do think
he's so frustrated by last game. He just was like, all right, I'm going to dive on this guy to let my frustration out, and there you go.
I know. And it was like, if you look at I don't know.
It was a bullshit call. Like,
it was a bullshit call. I'll agree with that. It was a bullshit call, but it was also a really dumb thing to do. I mean, it was like 3rd and 17, and so he ran a screenplay, and it was like getting tackled for like 2 yards, and Elijah Pritchett's like, I'm gonna get us a first down by jumping on this guy. Like, it just had no, like, I would have been less mad if he was like trying to go downfield and block somebody, but it was just like he got in a tiff with this guy and wanted to make a point or something, and it was like it just had no impact on the play. And so for a play, it just was a boneheaded decision, and it clearly, we need him out there. He's our best pass blocker. So that, I don't know, it kind of fell in line with some of the false start penalties and just mental mistakes that have been disappointing from Elijah Pritchett.
Yeah, but I mean, he's like you said, he's our best guy. So I guess you got to take got to take the mental mistakes with. Yeah, I just
So Co doesn't think it was a bad. I mean, I think you hit helmet to helmet. So I just think you
yeah
put yourself because the thing I don't know what the hell targeting is anymore.
yeah.
But I just know that if you hit somebody near in the head, you give them an excuse to call it targeting, and he just should have never been in that. The guy was already on the ground, like he did not. It was pure stupidity. I agree with that. Um, but I mean, at the same time, I don't know what you do about that. I mean, what does Nebraska do? This guy's had so many freaking problems, but you also can't. There's nobody else. We cannot put Teddy Prohashka out there or Turner Corcoran. Like those guys,
Or
my
Tyler, if you prefer.
yeah, or Tyler Corcoran or whoever else, Tyler Knack. And I did forget that Gibson Pyle was out for the season, so like we don't have as much depth either. Yeah, helmet to helmet to a defenseless defender. Yeah, it's pretty funny. They were this. There was quite a chuckle about an offensive lineman getting tossed for targeting. I mean,
I mean,
that's such a Nebraska that's such
it
a
was funny
Nebraska
to
thing.
watch if you weren't like it.
Just
It
what?
was, but it was also so stupid. I don't know. It was funny to watch.
It was stupid, but I mean, that's just such a Nebraska. We're gonna have our best offensive lineman ejected from the game for targeting. Like, I mean, that's just anyway.
And I
Uh,
did want to say this is not football related, but I wanted to bring this up because I missed it in our last show that we did, and I missed it. Yeah, I just missed it this week. But the basketball team picked up a commitment from Ty Schlegel, uh, four-star composite um, small forward, 34th overall small forward in the 2027 class, and the third overall player from the state of Minnesota in the class. Minnesota, Wisconsin also offered him 6'5", so good commitment for Fred Hoiberg, and we all know how much he loves high school recruiting. So I was even more surprised by that, but I'll take it.
yeah, I think Fred. I like what Fred Hoiberg's been doing, and
Yeah,
I did kind of forget about this commitment. So yeah, good on him. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be a fun few years for basketball. Um, he's a walking
really.
bucket. Co says he's watched him
I have
play.
to. I
So
have to watch him then. Okay, cool.
yeah, I really like what Fred's doing. I like the
Yeah,
team that we've got. Yeah, it's going to be a fun time to be a Nebraska basketball fan. I think this
and I
year.
do like what he's done in the like. I know we had our downturn, like our cliff fall, like towards the second half of last year, but I really do like what Fred's been able to do with the transfer portal and stuff like that. He's gotten a lot of impact players and key guys. I hear Rink Mast is playing well. I know he played well in the exhibition. What was it, like 30 points or something? And
Yeah, yeah,
Jamarcus Lawrence has been playing well, I've been hearing. So I
yeah.
loved Jamarcus Lawrence when he was here. I was so sad when he left for Rhode Island, but I'm glad he's back.
Yeah, I really liked I really liked Connor Sejan shooting the ball well. I think that was a big he made like 5 threes. Rank I think was 7 of 8 from three. So,
How's
that's one.
Price been looking? I haven't really been able to watch too much, but have you?
I haven't no, I haven't seen him much seen too much, but I do think he made a few shots. I've heard some good things though about him. So yeah, I think he'll be in the starting lineup. The main thing is, last year's team just didn't I mean, outside of Bryce, and they just didn't have a lot of reliable 3-point shooting. And so I think that was a big thing they wanted to fix this year. And I think that they did that. And so if Connor, I mean, Connor had some really good moments, actually. He just needs to be a little bit more consistent this season. But if he does that, and you talk about like Price Sanford, and you get Rink Mass too, who, I mean, God, he was just a maestro on the pick and pop, and
Yeah, I was.
he can do so much. So yeah, it's gonna be you give Fred Hoiberg a big guy who can shoot, make plays, and he's gonna do some fun things with that offense. So I'm stoked for basketball season.
I'm excited to see what Kendall Blue can do too.
Yeah,
Uh,
he's an exciting guy.
so yeah, no. Do you think he'd be coming off the bench? I'm guessing. Yes.
I think so. Yeah, I think so right now, but I don't know. They've got a lot of different guys they can play. So
He's so explosive. I've watched Blue a little bit. He's so explosive, especially when he goes to the rim. Like he can shoot mid range and even 3-pointers, but I think he's best when he's going to the rim. So if you have Esijan and Blue off the bench, that's a ton of depth to a very good starting lineup. So
so as far as recruits, there are some big recruits on campus today. The biggest one's like Danny Odom's visiting. He's already committed, but still good to have him visit. But actually, Tadarius Hughes is going to be visiting. He's a 4-star committed to Florida State, a 6'3" safety. Probably would be either a safety or a nickel for Nebraska, but he's been a guy they've been trying to flip for a while. I think he would be a nice pickup if they could
Yeah.
actually make that happen. And then there's another guy. He's not like super highly ranked, but his name is Demod Lewis. He's 6'3", 235 out of Charlotte. Nebraska's kind of battling Florida State with him right now, but he does have a really interesting offer list where he's ranked like in the 1100s, but he's an edge: Texas, Texas A&M, Florida State, Washington, Minnesota, Rutgers, Kentucky,
That's a good
Cal,
offer list.
yeah, Georgia Tech, Mississippi State, Wake, NC State. So a pretty, Virginia Tech. USC is another team that's been sniffing around. But if you want to say like Nebraska's on commitment watch this weekend, I think it's because of him. I think Demod Lewis is one that they could get to flip this weekend. He's taking an official visit. So yeah, I think he's got a good chance. And then they do have a bunch of guys coming for next week, but like Trey Taylor's visiting this weekend, Torrey Pittman's visiting, Matt Erickson's visiting. So a lot of the 2027 recruits on campus.
I'm excited about the 2027 class. I really am. And I'm hoping Matt Rule sticks around. And I know you posted something about the betting odds on some kind of, I don't know, cheap ass betting site or whatever. So I don't know, but I mean, I do feel confident that he'll stay, because honestly, I don't know if he'd be necessarily the upgrade that Penn State would be looking for at this time. But I did hear also that Florida has been sniffing around Lane Kiffin, and they want to give him like a $13 million offer. If Florida got Lane Kiffin, he would absolutely. I mean, yes, there's Mario Cristobal, but Kiffin would be right up there with Cristobal in terms of dominating the state in recruiting. Both of those two would clean up.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see if that happens or not.
That would be a good fit.
It would be. I did want to mention, so in the 2027 class, to answer your question more, there are some big time players. Quentin Hale, 6'3", 175-pound receiver out of Los Angeles. He's 46th overall. He'll be on campus today. Khalil Taylor, former Penn State commitment, a big time player in the 2027 class, 72nd overall. He'll be taking a visit. Amir Brown, the running back that was committed to North Carolina, number 274 overall. He'll be visiting. So definitely some guys on campus. Kylon Haney from Central Omaha Central. Also a D lineman from St. Francis Academy in Baltimore. They're kind of a national power. Jaden Travers, 6'4", 260-pound D lineman.
I like that they're going into Baltimore. I really do. There's a lot of talent there.
There is a lot of talent there. Yeah, the DMV's and Maryland's did a good job recruiting it. But then next week, a lot of big guys coming on campus next week. The 2027, it's a little, not quite as many guys have it scheduled, but Xavier Bala, the big time running back, who's one of Nebraska's
New York, right?
From New York. Yep. He'll be visiting, and then Jashir Rogers will visit next weekend. He's a Penn State commitment at wide receiver. So that's going to be an official visit. So keep an eye on that one. And they also have an official visit looking down the road for the Black Friday game against against Iowa, but it's a Penn State commitment visiting. And his name is Tavion Branch, 6'4", 300 pounds. So, and if you look at our defensive line, definitely could use some more 300-pounders. So that would be one to keep on the radar, I think, going into November. And it's crazy as it is, we're like 6 weeks from signing day.
Oh man, I don't know. I don't like it. It's just close. Winter's one step closer, and I don't like it. I feel like we were just doing our previews and stuff for the season, and it always goes by fast, doesn't it?
It does, and I do have to say, Nebraska's recruiting class is ranked 80th right now, which isn't great.
For what, 2026?
Yeah, I know they're in the top 5 or whatever for 2020. So 2027 is off to a good start.
I mean, we all knew that. Like, we all knew it wasn't going to be a big class.
I mean, I knew it wasn't going to be a big class. I don't know that thought it was going to be. I mean, because the thing is, they got 11 commitments, and they have more players ranked outside the top 1,000 than they do 4-star commitments. So, like, that to me is slightly alarming. But it's one bad class won't kill you. 2 will, though. Two bad recruiting classes will kill you. So they.
Well, I think you mentioned all the defensive line visits. I think Terry Braden's starting to find his footing for recruiting there now, and that's where I think you're going to see it make an impact in the 2027 class.
Yeah, for sure.
This is the class where I think he's really going to find his find his footing because, like you mentioned earlier, he came from the Chiefs. Chiefs were playing in the Super Bowl till February. Didn't really have a chance to get acclimated. Just kind of had to hit the ground running, and now he's home and comfortable. He'll have a chance to do some real good work here, I think.
Yeah, if you could, I agree. I do agree with Kovo. I do think that this class should have been better. But if you could if you could get a Tadarius Hughes, if you could flip, a defensive lineman, if you could get another edge into this class,
Yeah.
I don't know about the receiver. Jasir Rogers, he just strikes me a lot as very similar to Larry Miles, and so like I would rather, if they were going to add a receiver, I'd prefer that Josiah Teasley, who's 6'4", 180 pounds. The problem is that he's taking an official visit to Vanderbilt this weekend, and they're right now a top 10 team. So I'm not sure if Nebraska's going to win that recruitment.
Well, I think you might be seeing a lot of similar players in case ones don't work out. Like, I think the coaches probably know, hey, this kid's not coming here. Let's get another kid like him or another player at the position so we have plan B.
Yeah, for sure. And just because, you can't always say like size, Ja'Cory Barney's not a huge receiver and he's a playmaker, and Larry Miles I think is going to be a playmaker. But anyway, let's see. James, it's strange with the rules about rumor going to oh my gosh, it's strange with the rumors about Rule going to Penn State. How many being by Penn State are looking at Nebraska? Quite a few, but I think that's just like the entire Big Ten is just kind of like going at Penn State recruits right now. So,
well, yeah, because don't they have a window, or is that just a transfer portal where fired coach or players can look at schools from coaches who have been fired?
Yeah, you have 30 days to transfer once your coach has been fired, so you get like an extra transfer window. But any time a coach is fired, or heck, even when they're in trouble, it's open season on recruits. Like you can see that with Florida. Like I know one thing that was reported this week that Nebraska has reached back out to CJ Brona.
Yep.
They didn't do it very quickly. I'll say that. And I don't know how much traction is going to happen there, but I know there's other teams doing it too. So we'll see. But yeah, that's just one example of, Florida fired their coach and here they are. So that's Florida had a really strong class too, I think. So it's going to be, it opens up some opportunities to improve this class before signing day. So hopefully they can take advantage of that.
I think they will. And again, it's still hard to read whether or not Rule is going to go or not going to go to Penn State. I'm hearing there's a lot of mixed messages in regards to that. So, I'm not really going to speculate on that per se. It's hard to say lean one way or the other, but they still have to recruit like he's going to be here.
Yeah, it's tough. I know that he's viewed as the favorite. I know that I've heard a bunch of things like Penn State wants Marcus Freeman, and I just don't think that's happening. So, after that, people talk about Joe Brady as the next guy. Like he's never been a head coach. I understand Joe Brady's called a lot of good plays, but unless I'm mistaken, he's never been a head coach. At least he's never done it. Like maybe he's been. Marcus Satterfield's been a head coach. So like maybe he's been a head coach like that. But that's kind of a big job to give somebody who's never been a head coach before. So I don't know. And then try to think who else has been out there. I know they probably wanted Cignetti, and that's the thing too. Is like, do people realize that Matt Rule's still making more money than Kurt Cignetti? Like even with this new contract, like he's still higher paid. So, Nebraska, Matt Rule has plenty of reasons to stick around. And like people talk about like, I do not want to give Matt Rule a contract extension yet. Like I understand the situation and we need to get through this season though, because if this team tanks, you give him a contract extension now and they tank, which they probably won't, but they could. There's not a guaranteed win in any of these 5 games. So I want to see how this season plays out before we start locking in Matt Rule for the future. So, I don't know. I think it's Nebraska literally is stuck, I think, between a rock and a hard place because you have a coach that's been mediocre. He has not been great. And he's talking, so it's like, do you give him a contract? Do you, I don't know. It's a weird situation to be in. And I don't think it's going to go away until Penn State hires somebody. And they probably aren't going to do that until it's probably going to be very similar to Nebraska in 2022 when we hired somebody Thanksgiving weekend. Like that's probably when it's going to happen.
I don't think anybody knows really, including Rule. And, I do think a part of him probably is at least considering it because it'd be stupid not to. But, I do hope he can stay here and kind of keep this thing together with staff changes, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, he's considering. I don't know. It's like it's really interesting to me. Because if Matt Rule wanted to quash this thing, he could have very easily. He could have done it the first day. I'm staying in Nebraska. This is where I've been. I'm not leaving. But he didn't do that, and he didn't do that for a reason. So I mean, I think if they offer him the job, I think he's leaving. I do. If Penn State offers him the job, the question is, are they actually going to offer him the job? I don't know. I'd be surprised. But
There's a lot of Penn State board of trustees that do not want him either.
yeah, and it sounds like there's some that do. So I don't know, and I don't know what reporting to trust. Like James said, my brother-in-law is a Penn State grad, and he's not hearing very much about Rule. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you don't hire Matt Rule, then who do you hire though? Joe Brady? I mean, do you go for, a Jamie Chadwell? I haven't really heard a ton of buzz about this Penn State job. So
yeah, I don't think anybody knows yet. I just don't trust Nebraska administration to make a good hire, and not Troy Dannon. But I've said this before, but I'll keep saying it. The Board of Regents, I don't trust them to approve a good hire or not meddle with Troy Dannon's plans.
yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's you don't want to have to be in that situation, but if they as long as Troy Dan is there, like I think they'll be fine, and I don't think it's going to
I
be the
love
end of the
Troy.
world.
I do love Troy. Yeah.
So here's Brett McMurphy posted this, and I reposted it. It says per Cauchy. I don't know what the hell that is, but anyway, so this is just odds. It's a gambling thing, so I mean, take it for what it's worth. But Rule has a 35% chance. They say Lane Kiffin at 14%. I don't believe he's going to Penn State. Joe Brady 14%. They have Kalen DeBoer on here, which I think is absolutely insane. He's not leaving Alabama.
That right there made that list kind of meh to me.
And Mike Elko is another one, so probably not. I mean, I could maybe see that, but to me that seems like a very lateral move from Texas A&M to Penn State. So I don't know.
Honestly, I don't trust that list at all. Like out of all the lists, I was like, yeah, this one, I'm tossing this one out.
I mean, I don't know, man. Like, who else is there though outside of Matt Rule and Joe Brady? Like, I do trust some of the names on that list, so there hasn't been a ton of buzz about it. I don't know. I mean, I've heard Joe Brady a lot, and I know that the Bills owner apparently has some ties to Penn State. So I'm not sure, but I do think that Matt Rule is a real candidate.
Yeah.
How these final games go probably will determine what happens, but I don't know. We'll see. It will be disappointing, I guess, if he leaves, but I'm not willing to say he's the answer yet either. So I'm kind of stuck in this weird place in the middle, which I think is kind of where Nebraska is. Although Troy Dannon, he's fully supporting Matt Rule. So I don't think Troy Dannon views Matt Rule the same way that the fans do.
No, but if Troy Dannon viewed anything the same way that the fans did, we'd have 7 coaches by now just this season alone, and would be letting all our players go to the transfer portal. So I'm glad he doesn't view the Matt Rule in this case the same way that the fans do.
I mean, I do somewhat disagree with what he said though. Because I get it, but David Braun has as many wins as Matt Rule. Like there's just like Matt Rule has not met expectations up to this point. I think that's fair to say. He's been a disappointment. This program should have made a bowl game his first year. They should have won more games last year, and that's just where I'm at with it. A better coach would have had better results. So to me, that is a troublesome thing. We'll see. Hopefully he gets it around. Stuff doesn't mean that he can't improve and that this program can improve, but I do think, for what Nebraska's paid him, he has not lived up to expectations.
Letting him go for the next best thing, though, I don't know is the answer either. Because the next best thing very rarely turns out to be the next best thing. Look at Scott Frost.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not, and that's a good point. I'm not saying that I think it's too early to say about.
No, yeah, I'm not saying that you are in general. I'm just saying to the fans, like the next best thing, like the whole Curt Cignetti obsession, like that was a once in a lifetime rare situation. I mean, look at Deion Sanders, look at Luke Fickell. I mean, it just doesn't happen like what Curt Cignetti has been able to do, and that's not taking away from Curt Cignetti. He's a damn good football coach. It's just not the. It's just I wouldn't point that level of success as something that can be replicated quickly.
No, but here's my thing with the Kurt Signetti thing is that like he's an elite coach. And I've said this before, elite coaches make an immediate impact. It doesn't matter what. If Urban Meyer was the head coach right now, if they had hired Urban Meyer instead of Matt Rule, Nebraska would be competing for Big Ten championships. If they had Urban Meyer or Jim Harbaugh, they would be immediately, like almost immediately. That's just what happens when you have a good coach, like an elite coach. And Nebraska paid Matt Rule to be an elite coach. They paid him. I mean, I know that like, yeah, he was getting paid some with the Carolina job, but like his salary, I think, before long, his current salary is going to have him paying $13 million a year. 13 million a year. That's not 7 and 6. That's not 5 and 7. That's come in and win right away money. And that's what he was supposed to do. And like I get what you're saying, but like it's just
they also paid him that much because Nebraska was a difficult program to rebuild, and he had to quite literally rebuild it from the ground up. This wasn't supposed to be an immediate turnaround. This was supposed to be a rebuild.
I know, but Indiana, I mean, even Northwestern was in a worse situation than Nebraska, and they've got the same amount of wins. They've got more Big Ten wins than Nebraska. So, I mean, like, I get what you're saying. And I'm not saying Nebraska should fire Matt Rule because of Kurt Signetti, but I think the idea that that's like a one-off or a unicorn, it's not. Like Urban Meyer went to Ohio State. They won 6 games the year before with basically the same team. He won 12 games the next year. At Michigan, Jim Harbaugh, they won 5 games the year before. They got 1 quarterback in the transfer portal, and the next year they won 10. So that's if you have a good coach, a truly elite coach, they make a difference immediately. And Matt Rule has never done that. And so that's part of the reason why I do question. Like, I just don't know what has he ever done to prove that he's worth $13 million a year? Nothing.
I get what you're saying, but I think you had to pay at that time what the market was kind of dictating. And
oh, for sure. Yeah, you had to. And then like, I was supported the hire at the time, and I still think that Matt Rule can be successful, but like, I do get where other people are coming from. And then it's kind of like, I get the point that you're saying, and I get the thing that everybody's saying about how, we don't want to just have constant turnover. And like, I get that. And you don't want to have you don't want to be the Chicago Bears or whoever. But at the same time, when you get to the point where you're like, this isn't the guy, you can't just stick with him. Like, if you get to the point where he's not the guy, like at that point, you're just spinning your wheels, and so you might as well just cut, as hard as it is, you might as well cut bait and move on.
Have we gotten to that point yet?
No, I don't think we have. No,
I don't think so either.
But if we were to
go through another, sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, I don't think we've not gotten to the other side either. Like, we're still in this middle range where we just don't know.
But if we were, say we were to fire Matt Rule, for example, and go through another rebuild in this day and age, we could fall behind very, very quickly.
I mean, potentially. I mean, I don't know how much farther behind we can really fall, though. Like, I think if you got a truly elite, competent coach, like, I think Nebraska would. I think it really would be, and could. I think it is a sleeping giant. You just so I don't know. I mean, I understand the fear of that, and obviously, I don't think Matt Rule is anywhere near close to being fired. I think he would have to lose. I think he would have to lose out this season to probably get fired from Nebraska, and that's probably not going to happen. I say probably. I mean, even then, I think you probably could still make a case for him. Just
no, the fans would want him out immediately.
Well, of course, the fans would, but
the fans would want him to have his office packed by the time the final whistle happened.
That's going to be if he loses to Northwestern, that's going to be the case, So,
damned if you do, damned if you don't, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I'm not saying it's easy, and they've been close. Like that is the frustrating thing, is because they've been so close. Where there is a world where Matt Rule, the success isn't that far off from Kurt Signetti. I mean, like, I get the wins and losses, but what if they had beaten Ohio State and they had beaten Michigan and they had beaten Illinois last year? And it's like they weren't that far off last season. And I think that's part of the reason why fans are so frustrated, is because it does feel so close. And It's like that thing. Have you ever seen that episode, like for Office viewers? There's this prank that Jim plays, and like him and Dwight are trying to team up, and it's like
Yeah. Yep.
they opens the desk drawers just a little bit,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Dwight doesn't think it's going to be a very funny prank, and so Jim does it to him, and he's like, "God, this is so annoying." That's Nebraska football right now. We can see the thing we need in our desk. It's just stuck. Our drawer is stuck, and it's so frustrating because like our hand is like an inch away from getting what we need. And so we just have to bust that open and get it. But that's like the best metaphor I can find right now for Nebraska football.
I don't. These next couple games are going to be extremely crucial, and it obviously starts today against Northwestern. But I don't know. It's tough to say because on one hand, has he necessarily delivered the results that we have wanted? Not yet, but is there another coach out there right now that can make it happen? That's not Kurt Cignetti or whatever. Is it something where we have to wait until hypothetically the end of the season and then kind of have to restart all over again? Say he were to lose out, there's just a lot of factors.
Yeah, there are a lot of factors, and it's great because literally Michigan people are having the same conversation last week. They're like, oh, this defensive coordinator has to go, and if we lose a certain amount of games, like does Sharon have to go? And so that's just the world. That's just the nature of this beast, of this college football thing. So you win this week, you win next week, and everything is completely changed. So that's if Nebraska comes out today and wins 28-10, like everybody will feel completely different about this program. And
I saw an article actually yesterday about it's from A to Z Sports, and the headline is Ryan Day could soon be dealing with Penn State trying to take an Ohio State coach for the second year in a row, and it's Brian Hartline.
Yeah, Brian Hartline that's actually one. That's one guy I would consider giving. I'm surprised he hasn't gotten hired yet, but he's probably been, he's been pretty choosy about jobs. But I do think Brian Hartline would be a good coach. He'd be, if I was going to hire anybody that's not a head coach, it probably would be him.
Yeah.
But the DC, it's so funny because everybody thought you and I called it on Matt Patricia. Like we said he was going to do good at Ohio State, but I don't think anybody's ever going to give him a head coaching job ever again, unless it's like a MAC. Like he might be able to be like the head coach of like Central Michigan State, but I don't think any major programs turning over the wheels to Matt Patricia after.
Well, it's like a Josh McDaniels type thing. Very good assistant. Granted, Josh McDaniels burned so many bridges as a head coach, but very good assistant. Just can't get it done as a head coach. And I was actually listening to Matt Patricia explain the Matt Ryan strip sack in the Super Bowl that turned everything around, and just listening to him explain it, it was incredibly impressive. He was like, "Oh, we knew, who is the running back? Freeman, Devonta Freeman. We knew Devonta Freeman couldn't block, so we sent a linebacker to kind of run around to the outside. We had Donta Hightower come in, sack Matt Ryan, and he just explained it. And it was like, wow, like, you're not as dumb as I thought you were."
Well, he was a really good defensive coordinator, and I knew he would.
Putting him as OC.
Yeah, I knew he would be good as. I knew he'd be good with Ohio State because they have the players. So when you're like a guru type of guy, you look a lot smarter when you have good players. So I'll just put it that way. Like I don't think Matt Patricia would look like a genius if he was coordinating Nebraska's defense per se, but Ohio State should like. And that's not to say, but any of us, I could probably coach Ohio State to a top 5 defense. You know what I mean? Like they just have the guys. And so as long as you're not a complete idiot, it should work out. But he's actually pretty smart. And when you have smart guys, although I'll say this, because he's smart enough to know how to not be too smart. Like that's like you have some guys, and Dana Holgorsen, I think, is kind of falling into this where he like, instead of just sitting there and being like, we're going to run the ball 40 times a game, because you know what, they don't give you fancy offensive coordinator awards for handing the ball off 40 times. You know what I mean? They're not like, oh, he's the great offensive guru. It's the whole Mike Martz syndrome, where it's like, not only do you have to win, but you have to win because you're the mad scientist. And I feel like Dana Holgorsen has a little bit of that. And so I'm very interested to see that today. Like if he does not hand the ball off to Emmett, if Emmett Johnson doesn't rush the ball 20 times today, Like, I really think that they're going to have to move off of Holgerson at some point, like this offseason. Not this week or anything, but it's because it's like, dude, you're just not understanding the assignment.
Did you know that Matt Patricia spent 2 years as an application engineer with an air infiltration system after graduating from RPI?
I knew something about that. He was an engineer. I didn't know the specific thing about it, but yeah, he's a brainiac.
Yeah, no. Let's see. I'm just looking. Uh, Detroit Lions, RPI decided to return. So it's like something like nuclear, like something or other, and it's just like whoa, like okay.
Yeah, he's a smart guy. And he always has the pencil behind the ear, so that makes him look smarter for some reason. I don't know why. It just
Maybe
does.
we should start doing that on our
Maybe.
podcast now. Just
Yeah,
put a
just like
pencil.
pencil. It looks like you have. I feel like it makes you look like you have thoughts to write down, so it makes you
Listen
just
to
look
us. We have
smarter.
the pencil.
Yeah,
We have the
I
pencil.
have
Listen.
the pencil of truth. Anyway, we don't have the pencil of truth, but we will have some predictions here as we're coming up on the 8 o'clock hour if you're in Nebraska, 9 o'clock if you're where Danny is, 7 o'clock here in Montana. Anywhere else, I don't know where you are, but if you're following the stream, I thank you, and I'm impressed by your dedication to Nebraska football. But let's throw up our predictions. We did our predictions last week, or I mean Thursday against the spread. I was looking at my numbers this year. I have not been that great with my predictions.
No, I haven't either. Nope.
I will say, so I'm 5-2 straight up.
There you go.
But I'm 2-4 against the spread. So I don't know that you should trust me with
I
the
never
spread
gambled
numbers.
Nebraska sports at all.
Although I will defend myself in that they were very close to covering the spread in the Michigan State game. And so that, they barely missed that one, and the Michigan game. They were very close in that one. So they missed the Michigan by 1.5 points. They missed the Michigan State one basically by the same margin. So it's not. So I'm very close to being. So I'm the Matt Rule of picking, I guess. I'm very close to having a good record, but don't quite have it.
And you're a good bullshitter. You and Matt Rule.
Yeah, exactly.
Not bullshit. So
That's
okay. So predictions. Do you want to go first?
Yeah. So I think that this game reminds me of that one we had at like Matt Rule's first year against Northwestern. I think it's going to be kind of an ugly, Big Ten West kind of game. But I think Nebraska. I think Emmett Johnson will rush for over 100 yards. I think of the run defense will be good enough. I don't think it's going to be great, but I think it'll be good enough. And I think Nebraska's going to win 24-17.
24-21, Nebraska. It's going to be a close one. It's going to be a nail-biter because they always are against Northwestern, save for, again, that Jacques Youant breakout game. But they'll get it done. They'll make a bowl, and we're going to have a different conversation heading into the USC game.
Yeah, and then everybody will be talking about, Matt Rule's making progress. Look, we qualified for a bowl game in week 8, and then they'll be like, how far are we from the playoff? And
now on HuskerBigRed.com, Matt Rule has turned corner. I can see it now.
Yeah, it's funny because somebody was giving me we have our Fallout episode on Monday, and that's just what we that's how we've branded it, I guess. Whatever. And somebody was like, so I put the teaser on Facebook with the link, and someone was like, quit being dramatic about the fallout from this one loss. And I was like, dude, the fallout could be good. I was like, the fallout after the previous win, which I'm blanking on what it is now. That's how
Maryland.
Yeah, I was like, the fallout after the Maryland game was that this team had learned how to win and had done all these things, yada yada. So I'm like, it's not, fallout's not a negative word anyway. I just thought that was funny that people thought we were being like particularly negative when it's the same branding we use every single week. So it's funny.
I mean, hey, we got a new viewer if that's the case. So
and I commented it back, and he commented back with like the laughing emoji. He was like, oh, so I kind of feel anyway. So James, 31-17, Nebraska will get 3 turnovers. Johnson gets 3 TDs.
Okay. I like
the
that.
Conservative Husker, 28-0 Big Red. That would be a statement.
Yeah,
that would but maybe that would be too big of a statement. Then Penn State's going to be like, damn, that Matt Rule. So
I know we want to win like 7-3, like 10-7.
Let's not make it too impressive, Conservative Huskers. So don't get carried away. But I like it though. That would be legit. That would be fun to actually see Nebraska just like come out and kick some ass.
I don't think it's going to be like that. That's a credit to Northwestern, but we'll see.
Could be though. 16-13. Yeah, I could see this. I could see something like that. I was hoping for more touchdowns, but I could see an old Big Ten West field goal off, like 2 touchdowns and 5 field goals. That would be a perfectly Big Ten West game. So, but you know what? I don't care as long as Nebraska wins. Like you always say, 2-0, I'd be happy.
Yeah.
Probably not happy, but happier than losing 2-0. So
I just don't want to hear people complain anymore. And like, it's not even you; it's just everybody else. Like, you're not complaining. Just all through social media, it's like, like, they better win. Like, they're losers. Like, blah blah blah. Like, honestly, people, and I know this is part of fandom, but don't let it affect you as much as it does, because some of you need to like actually touch grass. Some of you need to actually play football and realize how hard it is to play the game of football. And others, it'll be okay.
It's hard to win in the Big Ten, like it is. That's something they always say in the NFL is like the other team gets paid too. Well, that's now every team's getting paid. It's not like 10 teams in the SEC, it's everybody. And you are seeing talent distributed more, and there's lots of good coaches. And so, yeah, nobody's just going to be like, hey, you're Nebraska, you're going to come in here and win. Like, everybody's getting paid. Everybody's got expectations. Like, so just got to go. You got to be tough. And
we had even said at the beginning of the season that we could see them losing either the Maryland or Minnesota game, and as long as they didn't lose both, we'd be okay. So
yeah, and there's still every goal's on the table. Outside of like, they're probably, you're probably not going to make the Big Ten title game with 2 losses, but
I mean, that's fine. That's fine.
But if this team wins out, and I know that's, I hate to say it, there's only 5 games though, so winning out's not that. You win this game out, there's only 4 more games to win, so it's not like it's that crazy. So yeah, they got to get some momentum, and I feel like if they have a solid performance this week, then that tees up a really big game next week, and
it's gonna be a fun one. No matter the outcome, it's gonna be really fun. Blackout jerseys that the players probably don't have a hand in picking, so I don't want to hear this whole week. Oh, the players are strategy. They shouldn't be picking out jerseys. They should be focusing on the game plan. Don't even miss me with that bullshit. Okay, I'm calling out all the bullshit today, and that's another thing. They probably don't pick the jerseys. Yes, they get asked to pose in pictures with said jerseys, but I guarantee you that that's not distracting from the game plan. But
that's something every team does. I mean, it's not the reason you lost the game is because you took a few pictures during the week. People, come on.
Or the videos. They probably have nothing to do with the videos. Our fantastic editing department that Nebraska has, they do an awesome job. They do all the videos, and so they're not involved in it either. They have to do the interviews. I mean, this isn't like 1922 where we haven't even discovered the microwave or the color TV. Like, this is part of the thing now. God.
Yeah, it's funny. Hopefully, we just this fan Husker Nation just needs a win. We all need a win, and then we can take a big breath. But then if we have 6-2 USC and 6-2 Nebraska, that's going to be a fun game. That'll be a fun game
on NBC, right?
Yeah, on NBC, and basically the loser it'll be a playoff eliminator essentially. The loser will be completely out of the playoff picture, because I don't think Nebraska can make it as a 9-3, and I don't think USC can either. So
no. But I mean, there's still be a very good game to play for, and 9-3. That's what I said at the beginning of the year, so I'd take that.
And yeah, whatever we want to say, like 6-2. If this team is 6-2, that would be a step in the right direction. I don't care what anybody says about Matt Rule. So if he has this team at 6-2, I will give him his flowers on Monday. So that's
if he doesn't. if he doesn't, we might not have an episode on Monday.
Oh man,
just shut the shit down and say, hey.
Then I'm gonna start the Kenny Dillingham to Nebraska campaign, because if Matt Rule does leave to Penn State, I'm gonna say it right now. He's the number 1 guy on my list. I
thought Soupy was the number 1 guy on your list.
No, Soup's my fallback guy. He's like the last. He's my last resort. If everybody, he's like the guy. He's like the I'm not even going to go there with this metaphor, but anyways, he's the last guy on my list. Like,
hold on, go there with that metaphor. Now I'm interested.
I was just going to say he's like no, I'm not going to go there with it. Never mind. He's the backup. He's the backup. He's just like the backup. He's like, if you're thinking of like a solid food option, you're like, don't know what to do. He's like Subway. Matt Campbell's like Subway. You're like, I can always go to Subway. I can always get a sandwich. Maybe it'll be pretty good. It'll probably be kind of mid, but at the end of the day, like, I won't throw up on it. So that's kind of how I feel like Matt Campbell would come and be like 8 8-9 wins, and he'd be like okay, but he'd probably be like Bo Pelini minus the psychotic.
The amount of Bo Pelini comments I've heard this week was nauseating. Bo Pelini
I
got blown out off the field.
He did, but he did get a lot of big wins, though. He did get a lot of
big wins, but he when it mattered, he got blown out. And
that's true.
Chris, make sure to study your Indiana game plan for when everybody calls for Curt Cignetti on Monday, because we gotta dedicate half the show to Curt Cignetti
to the genius of Curt, or just make the podcast about Curt Cignetti's genius.
Real Men of Genius ad right before the podcast, and it's Curt Cignetti.
Dilly, I don't know why do you think that would be
Yeah, I actually want to hear this, and I'm not like being facetious. Why do you
think that, Kel?
I mean, because quite honestly, we thought Scott Frost was going to be like the guy, and he never worked out, so you never know.
I just think Kenny Dillingham can recruit, and I think he can coach quarterbacks. I don't know. I think he would be a good coach. So
Mickey Joseph, bring him back.
I mean, I love Lane Kiffin, but he's not coming to Nebraska.
No, and if Florida called, if I was Lane, I'd be on the first flight down there.
See, I'm not sure if I would. I'm probably I just worry. It was like he's already built it really well at Ole Miss. Like, does Florida have?
He did, but if you build something out of Florida, it's like if you build something out of Nebraska. If you build something out of Florida, and do you think about how he recruits at Ole Miss?
Yeah,
he would clean up in South Florida. Oof.
Yeah, the Florida down there. Yeah, and that's part of the thing with Rule too. I mean, Pennsylvania is much more talent rich than Nebraska, and I know fans don't want to hear that, but Penn State basically recruits itself. I mean, I could go to Penn State and sign top 15 classes. Like, it just does.
Yeah, it does. And there are good players in Nebraska, so it's not like we're knocking on them. But recruiting in state is not the draw it once was.
But there's a reason why. Like, you look at the Big Ten, and I mean, I guess Penn State's only been in the Big Ten since the mid-90s. But like, if you look at there's a reason why Ohio State has had the best program for Like, Michigan might be the most winningest program, but in the modern era, it's been Ohio State because Ohio's got a lot of talent. And it doesn't matter as much now as it used to, but it does matter. Compare his personality to the other Big Ten coaches. Yeah, I mean, I guess from that perspective,
I feel like Cignetti's like that too, though.
I just feel like he's a winner. And I saw him talking after one of his press conferences, and just like the way, I don't know, I think the leadership, and I think he is a really great leader. I think he can coach and recruit quarterbacks. So I don't know. I just think he would be a good personality for Nebraska. And I feel like somebody is going to get him out of Arizona State and be a really good coach. But I also kind of think that about Fran Brown at Syracuse. Like, he would be on my list too.
I didn't realize Kenny Dillingham was only 5 years older than me. Wow.
That's crazy. But he's moved up quickly. Like, there's Dante Moore is at Oregon because of Kenny Dillingham. Like, that's the reason that happened. Like, this guy's
so in 2016, we'll start from 2016. He was Memphis's graduate assistant. Then he was the quarterback tight ends coach in 2017, and then he became their offensive coordinator in 2018. He left for Auburn, where he was the offensive coordinator there in 2019. He stayed there until 2020 when he was Florida State's offensive coordinator. Jeez. And his final stop before Arizona State head coach was obviously Oregon offensive coordinator, but he really did. He torpedoed up the coaching ranks. Like, whoa, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, and I'm not saying he's gonna be Dan Lanning, but I think he could be very successful in that similar. I mean, he's kind of from that same tree, I guess, and I don't people just really kind of gravitate towards him, and I really liked how he played with Cam Scatabo or whatever his name is, so I don't know, he's the guy that I would call if I was gonna, out of all the big time, of all the coaches who are at like mid-tier programs, Fran Brown from Syracuse and Kenny Dillingham from Arizona State would be on my short list. And then if they both said no, then Matt Campbell would probably be on that list too. And I know a lot of fans roll their eyes at Matt Campbell, but my thing about him,
Jimmy Chadwell before Matt Campbell, because it's hard to get a winning program at Liberty.
Yeah, I would consider him too. Yeah, I like Jamie Chadwell. The thing I've always liked about Matt Campbell is I think he evaluates talent really well. I think he's just a good, and I mean, Iowa State is Iowa State. Like, if you can win at Iowa State, you can win anywhere. And so that's how I feel about it. I think I'm not saying he would win championships at Nebraska, but he's a guy that knows how to win with less. And I don't think that would be a bad thing in Nebraska because we have less than the Ohio States and the Michigans and the Penn States and the Oregons of the world. We just do. So we need somebody who can help close that gap. And I was hoping it would be Matt Rule. He hasn't really been that yet. So maybe. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Well, I mean, yeah, no, he hadn't really done that, but USC and UCLA and all the new additions have made it harder too. Even Washington. Yeah. Not that that's an excuse for Matt Rule.
Actually, that's who I would call Jed Fish. He would be number one.
Or a Patriots guy. Yeah.
Bump Kenny Dillingham. Jed Fish would be my first call.
Okay.
I don't think we could get him. So
speaking of
honestly, if Michigan fired Sharon Moore, that's who I would want. Jed Fish, 100%.
I was gonna say Sharon Moore to Nebraska. I'd be like, no thanks. I'm all set.
No, but I do think Sharon Moore is gonna be fine. But yeah, so if I had my three guys that are at non-major jobs, because I think Washington's kind of a major job. Like I don't think Nebraska would be.
Kalen DeBoer came out of it, and
But if I was Penn State, that's who I'd be calling. I would be calling Jed Fish. Like that dude would win at Penn State anyway.
You know who I would call before any coach is Jalen Lloyd to see if he wants to come back to Nebraska after entering the transfer portal. And I wonder if that was a Holgorsen decision or a him decision.
Do we have room for him? I just don't. I mean,
I don't know. I don't think so. But he was fast, man. He was fast.
He should just like. I'm not trying to say this in a mean way. I truly think that Jalen Lloyd should just focus on his track career. Like I think he's just like. Go just try to be an Olympian or something. Like that's what
Morris and Hall should have done too, because now they're not to be mean, but now they're playing at a lower level of football than they would have been if they didn't enter the transfer portal.
But they do strike me as football players, whereas like Jalen, I mean, I think Jalen Lloyd, he always struck me as a track guy playing football, which is fine. I mean, there's lots of guys that do that, but I think he truly is like, I think he probably could be like, I don't know if he could be a national champion. I haven't said that much, but if I was him, that's what I would do. I would go somewhere and just do the track thing. And it's like, I don't know if Nebraska really wants or needs him back.
No, I don't think so either. He doesn't fit the Dana mold.
And who's he going to play over Cortez Mills? Like Ja'Cory, like he's similar to those kind of players, and he's just not as dynamic. He did.
Although if everybody gets fired, you never know.
I mean, he did have like 3 plus 50. It was him and Marvin Harrison.
Was it?
No, because it was before Jeremiah Smith. It wasn't last year. It was 20. It was with Chuba, and we had all those crappy quarterbacks. So even with all those crappy quarterbacks, Jalen Lloyd.
Which year is that? Pretty much every year.
Jalen Lloyd, 2022, or no, 2023. Excuse me. Jalen Lloyd caught 3 passes of over 50 yards. Only him and Marvin Harrison Jr.
That's what was Marvin. Okay.
Which is crazy because Jalen Lloyd was catching the ball from Chuba Purdy, and anyway. So,
but so hopefully we win, so we don't have to have the should TJ Lateef start discussion. At the very least, out of all the conversations that we've had, the TJ Lateef starting discussion has made me go gray.
I don't have much patience for that one. So, but I do need to go. We ran past a little 15 minutes past. We get caught up. I do love talking football. So thanks everybody for hanging out with us. We have a lot of fun here. It makes it more fun when you guys are hanging out. So we truly appreciate it. We'll be back on Monday with our reactions to this game, whether they're good, bad, or whatever. The fallout. Yeah, we'll have the fallout on Monday. So come check it out. And as always, go Big Red.
Go Big Red.